WCS2022 決勝だね、ここ。アジール空いてるね、マジ珍しい。まあでも BDD がアジールいけるから、FP アジールするのかどうかっていう。アジールジグスだとジグスの方がそうだよね。そう、俺もそう思う。アジールジグスだったらジグスの方が強いと思う。しかも、ジグスが通ったってことは AP が濃くなるから、アジール取りづらくて、アジールをバンしなくていいっていう。でもそれはそれでどうなの？ジャングルどうすんの？ AD が EDD はアジールのイメージだけど、競技に一番最初出てきた時はゼドのイメージだったんだよな。ソロ級のゼドのイメージだった。まあビエゴじゃない。まあスカナで AD の成分足りんのかな。なんかかなり AP を出してる感あるんだよな、使ってると。FP トップどうすんだろうね。コウキかレネクトンかな。まあ、後期、ゼリー、レネクトンの、まあ、ここら辺のトップ AD キャリーかレネクトン、ジャックスまあある、これヨネだし。ただジャックス取られる、ジャックス先出しで取られると困るから、そうだね。ジャックス先出しで取られるとかなり困る。オラフ、レネクトンかな。でレネクトンバンしたらもうピックする AD がないな。これなら結構何でもいいな。AD なら。まあそうだね。これでもいい。でもこれはね、スワップだね。スワップだけど、でもジグスがボットにいるとタワー折られるからスワップしたくないね。でもスワップさせたそうだね。ハードだとかなりスワップさせたそうだけど、まあでも怖すぎるね。良さそうだけどな、このエナ。まあでもここまでね、ターゲットバンされてたアジールが空いたわけだから、アジールがどうなるか。ATE のファンもなかなか、おフォースアップだ。あ、スワップか。でもデフとポーション持ってるな。おっと切った。あちゃー。ジグスに切る。FB。いやー、スタートだね、これジグス。あデフさんいや、ブーツスタートだね、これ。いや、ブーツスタートジグスだ。あ、そっちか。ブーツ、ルーンかな俺、ボットタワー。てかなんでデフとポーション持ってるんだ。あ、でもジグスがポーションいらないけど AD がポーションいるのか。大変だな。
So perfect Steph at least felt like it could be the result of, like, obviously him overextending, but also a bit of a miscommunication with them wanting to try and chase and collapse because we saw the rest of KT coming in, but him just overstepping. Deft though
just took a tower hit as well.
Yeah, so Deft trying to.
Deft もリコール前提なのかな。リコール前提だなこれ。
Against the popping in particular, like you just can't really afford to do that.
You know, I'd understand more if he had his make it rain.
Yeah,
but he didn't.
No.
You could really just snipe the recoil cancel from a distance.
And it would have been good if that was the case, because then you can, you know, generate a large lean lane. Even though Perfect ends up going down, it might be worth it.
あ、そっちなんだ。
The case this time around. We do have Perfect now TPing towards the bottom half.
カサンって別にジグスとマッチアップできないと思うけど。
Isn't really at a threat of a dive. Also, do know both junglers really just going for pretty standard clears, both starting on the bot. And now moving towards the top side of the map.
I like that synergy, you know, Def took a tower hit, so Barrel's like, I'll do it too.
He did walk in there and just straight up walk into the tower. Obviously just checking to see if Zeus is still there. But we do have a sneaky Poppy in the brush, and Deft is not exactly healthy here. Owner as well up there, but they're going to back away. They're going to play it safe, and Zeus, that does mean that he gets a lot of this farm under the turret.
It's just funny we got like a different flavor of it's still an AD carry support 2v2 and it's just Ziggs laning against the Cassante. The Cassante, who still has 0 CS, by the way.
Yeah, I wonder what happened there. Must have just had a really tough time because he did actually TP to the wave.
Yeah, I think he didn't last to the minions, if you're wondering.
Folks, very helpful.
Yes, high-level analysis here. Thank you, guys. Not hitting the minions generally means that you're not going to get the gold from them and get a big fat 0 on the scoreboard.
This is something where, like, the def initially, this is a player that is in his first really, obviously he did play a little bit last year, but was still eligible for Rookie of the Split. Is still sitting on 0. Like,
How is he still on 0?
well, that's my point.
口には気をつけろよ、
That's
本当
what I
に。
was going towards, right? Like, I actually think that getting an early def like that for a player that is in his first qualifier, extremely high pressure situation, might lead to a bit of tilt. And the fact that out of the, I imagine, what, like 10, 12 CS that he could have gotten, he's only gone 4. That's not good.
Yeah, nice little angle
so
here
it's
onto the Senna. Barrel almost definitely going to have to flash. Doesn't even bother. He's just going to take the death and die. Down he
なんで
goes.
リディアでスワップするんだろうな。もう、カサンテ諦めればよかったのに。正味無理だと思うけどな。
The threat
このスワッ
with
プ
this
成立しない。
trio, the Vayne, Skarn, Poppy, if one of them hits you into a wall, you're going to be there until you're dead. Like the Condemn and the Wall Slam, I think Beryl made the right choice not flashing there because you're still just
カ
going
サ
to
ン
die
テ
if you
結
do.
局
So
ファーム
Zay's
できてない
just
し、
later, but
ボットレーンで
kinda
2対2
shows
させ
double
てた
range
ら、
spot lanes, so much more
WAD キャリーのパワー
vulnerable
で
to
ジ
ganks
グ
in
スポップ
comparison.
には勝てたと思うけど、まあその代わりベインは絶対に育っちゃうけど、でも結局これベイン育っても育たなくても取ったなくてもって感じだったしな。まあでもさ、開幕で2キル入ってなければ別にいけるっていう感じだったのかな。こんな感じしないけど。結局だってこれジグスキル入ってなくても別にボット走ってたわけだしな。
Successful gank off already. And KT, they're gonna have to do a lot of heavy lifting in team fights if we
まあ
want
こ
to
の試合は落とさないでほしいね。さすがに感はある。
Looking like a bit of a blowout here early on. Owner will get spotted, but still, we're gonna have to try and keep his distance.
It's also just an absurd point of the game. Like we're 3-6 minutes, and Guma already has Lost Chapter tier. These are like the items where when you're playing Ziggs, you basically have infinite mana after this point. Still has a biscuit in inventory, still about to get a second biscuit as well. So he can just push endlessly. And Deft, in comparison, you know, later on the MF gets Bloodthirster and you can have more presence, you know, healing up with any poke. That's not going to happen for a long time now. So we see Pyoshik able to get one of the grubs. But T1 moving into challenge, you can see the wave pushed up top, and they will contest those.
I also think that Perfect being behind is actually a really big deal as the CSing struggles continue.
これなんで先出しレネクトンじゃなかったんだろうな。マジでレネクトンと思ったんだけど。
Outside of Perfect being there as a front line, like the rest of the team are pretty fragile, right? You're looking at maybe Liliac can set up a play like here.
Oh, he's going to flash, or rather satchel out of the way early, and then he will flash. Really respecting the potential setup of the Lilia. Pyoshik trying to flash in to make that happen. Here comes the Ghost out of Perfect, trying to punish the Vayne. Not always an easy thing to do, as Zay is just being chased down the lane, and Perfect doesn't quite have the range to do it, and now you're being run down as he gets that third bolt into Perfect, but again, got a level 4 Senna.
どうだこれ。
Not always the most interesting. Here comes Keria.
さすがにか。
Just gonna walk by.
Yeah, just some ability there for Zeus to get away from that one. And the thing is, this Senna not doing too much damage at this point, really. And obviously, if going to enchant to build, never really will. So Zeus does lose sums, and it is a bit of a trade down because Ghost is shot a cooldown, but Zeus still in a pretty fine spot. I think Perfect just happy he gets to hit minions for a little bit.
Oh?
But the wave's actually in a bad spot. It's frozen here, so this could end up being a rough spot for Perfect overall. You can see he's actually, he was walking towards bot lane and kind of changing his mind here.
You see Beryl very desperately trying to get it. Should be able, gets it into
Heal
the
buff
turret now, so
回
gonna
復
be the
量
end of the wall, though. Nope, Zeus is able to pull it. And obviously, like, Beryl has to respect their...
AD キャリーのサモスペ弱くしすぎるとこうなる。
outside of the map.
But then who goes bot? You know, I guess they're gonna reset and send Death. They just have to.
MS はちょっとキモいからヒール量を上げてほしい。
Just to try and accommodate the rough spot this Cassante has ended up in. I mean, it was always gonna be a bad lane matchup into the vein, but yeah, a lot of switching around just to try and minimize the deficit. But it's still, I mean, look at the CS gap in the top lane. There's a CS gap opened up in the bot lane. On top of the fact, Guma has those 2 kills. Leads all over the place right now, and you can see the XP lead as well. Guma the highest level in the game by a hefty margin.
Beckons the question, was it worth it to blind this Cassante into Zeus? And thus far the answer is very obviously no. We'll have to see how much value Beryl is going to get out of the Senna. The game progresses. Obviously, once Echoes is finished, he's going to feel a lot stronger. And the heals are still going to be, hopefully, a good amount of utility for KT when we get to mid-game. But if you're getting into mid-game already being like 3k gold behind and you don't have any item finishes, and that's not really going to feel that great regardless.
Yeah, also a big thing with the Senna is if your team is sort of even. Oh.
Yeah, Barrel's in a rough spot here. He does have his flash. He will flash that one. Here comes BDD. He's just going to be swept away. And he is super low barrel as well. A big bomb coming over the top, but I think they have the chase potential. One more auto would do it. Baker will get the kill. They have gone very deep for this, though. As Carrier thinking about helping out. He's not level 6 yet. As now Pioshik not going to hit anything.
Doesn't have flash.
And there's a disengage cone right here, so KT just have to back away. It's just a kill that goes over to T1 basically for free.
Wondering if maybe Perfect could have gotten the Dragon owner there across the wall. Could have been the difference maker, right? If you get that Skarner underneath the turret, at least you trade back 1 for 1. But that's going to be the Dragon going over here to T1, and yet another successful pick in KT. Quickly crumbling here under the pressure.
Yeah, this is just everything going wrong really in this game. It's 10 minutes into 3,000 gold lead already. And you're into plenty of picks that scale exceptionally well. On top of that, you know, the Senna, we talk about the value this pick can have, but if you're behind, people will just die. Like, you won't get a chance to sustain them up when a Ziggs ult and Q is just deleting them from the map, especially a Senna who ends up being so squishy when behind.
So funny now to watch, you know, even not on a first item, Zeus is just like able to trade with Beryl. You know, Def can't even really join in it. He's just trying to push the wave in. It just feels like they're trying to put out fires everywhere. And, you know, if you want to, you know, dig into the beams, you can say, hey, KT are really trying to lower the expectations for themselves.
They're doing a great job of that.
In this series, it basically looks unwinnable from here. It's not unwinnable, obviously, but it does make you feel like, hey, there was so much hype, so much potential for KT to really, you know, do a number to T1 and maybe even take their world spot away. But right now, what we're seeing is T1 are just kind of bopping them over the head. And T1 are just playing a pretty basic playing game. It feels like KT are not really meeting the expectations right now.
Yeah. And here, even with Beryl not getting slammed into the wall, BD doesn't actually get a big ultimate off, immediately gets knocked back, and Carry has Pry on the play. Add to that the fact that you have the Ziggs ultimate to come in as support, and then the fact that they can't really isolate Owner here. KT don't end up getting anything.
It feels like there's very little threat, you know. T1 managed to disengage from the situation, and other than getting dragged over the wall, they just kind of get a walkout. Definitely looking a bit difficult, and now Def chunked out here. Wow. Again, doesn't have the flip.
あ、いいミスった。おー、でも。おー。デクトがめちゃめちゃ集中してフラッシュしたら多分生きてたぞ、今の。
He didn't even hit the E on Death. No, it was just a, what was it, a drive-by ult that killed him?
I think maybe
Ignite
Buckler.
I don't think the ult even hit him.
I think it was Ignite Buckler.
I think it just autoed once and ignited. And that was it. I mean, Def doesn't exist right now. Zeus, does he exist is the question. He's still got a flash. Meanwhile, there's a fight going on between the supports, and Carry is winning that one big time. Can he actually get the kill? He can. And now he's on the run here. Might be in a bit of trouble, especially with the TP coming in. But Perfect basically just TPs for nothing. And they eventually kill Carrier while Faker's solo farming bot.
You know, in terms of the fact that Carrier got gold, no assist, and BDD got the kill in return, in terms of gold distributed, that's worth for KT. For the mental edge, Carrier definitely gets it from that one. Solo killing Beryl there. I want to see how that came about. This is that first moment where he hex flashes over the wall. Death super low.
Yeah, just literally.
I think it was the Q caught him, Q and Ignite there.
Yeah.
Over the edge of it. And then here, just half HP. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
It's very straightforward. Gets the catch. Also, I do want to note, as we see there, the TP coming in here from Perfect, like an answer to the TP that came through from Guma. But it does mean that Faker just gets to be completely unmatched in bot side. Just shove in that way. More CS is going to get missing, and it's even further built upon this gold lead that is being found. As Keria is just running this map on the Poppy.
Yeah, also Guma has been extremely accurate with his Qs. Can sometimes be difficult with the weird balancing mechanics and stuff, but he's basically just plopping it on the heads of every enemy that's in his range, and nobody gets to play the game against his Fed Ziggs. Meanwhile, Barrel, well, he's in the game, but he's not really, as he's dead again for the 4th time at 13 minutes. And there's the satchel coming in, maybe asleep here. There's the flash as well. He does have teammates nearby, but not quite close enough.
これまずいね。
finally does get
ダブル
punished.
デッド
Now
か。
Owner will go down as
あれ
well.
トリプ
And
ルかもこ
finally
れ。
KT gets
よし
something
く
on
が
the map.
Great bait by Barrel there.
Yeah! Classic Barrel!
A lot of resources bid by T1. A bit of an overcommit. More happening.
Yeah, Karia's just kind of getting in there, and this is actually a bait because the TP's here, Faker's here as well. Dev is just dead, and now Faker gets the scoop here on Pyosik. Nice Senna ult to help out, and BDD is desperate, but the Condemn comes in, and the knock into the wall. It's exactly what you were talking about. You're just up against the wall forever, and now the Vayne is going way too
and
will get punished. BDD will survive.
The healing from Barrel coming in a little bit clutch there. A very scrappy back and forth. You can see the plates though. Guma missing out on the 15 plate dream, but that is so much gold in favor of T1. So even with this play, a bit of a comeback from KT, they are still so far behind. And yeah, so they use a lot onto the Senna. And then Guma ends up stepping here. And the critical difference is Pyosik lands the passive, so the sleep comes in. The flash doesn't end up meaning anything.
And then here, Ona tries to extend the play, doesn't actually get the knock into the one, even if he did, wouldn't have really made a difference. As a result, KT think that they have an opportunity, have vision as well, so know that Karia's coming in, but it's this TP, crucially, that ends up being a big problem. Death just ends up going down, even with the Yone trying to make his way back in. And then this is so painful for BDD. It's what you were talking about earlier. Condemn into stun, and the fact that he's playing into Poppy as well, which even limits the dashes even more. And the healing there means that BDD doesn't die. Is that enough?
Here we go
I
again.
don't think so.
Owner gonna miss his ult. Also went for the Zeeks here. Pretty common on Skarner, I guess. One of the only junglers as a tank in the jungle to actually still get that item.
パーフェクトマジで誰ともマッチアップできないじゃん。終わってる。
This is the second Drake of the game. It's a Cloud Drake. And already 2 going in the hands of T1, making it a Mountain Soul on the cards for them.
Yeah, and I think, you know, yesterday our first game between KT and BNK4X was very slow. Took a long time for things to get rolling. This is kind of what I expected from these two teams. It is still a massive advantage for T1, but it's definitely been a lot scrappier recently. But now, T1 have already taken all of the outer towers. It's 16 minutes, and it's so easy for them just to look and threaten these tier 2s. That's 1 down already, and they can just repeat this play on the other side of the map. And I don't think KT really have a response right now.
Yeah, if you'd be looking for code, we'd be saying it's a calibration game. I think, unfortunately, though, again, come out of draft. Question was going to be, is this Cassante working out? And it's not. I think part of that is also Perfect having obviously a really rough game after the level 1, which didn't help. But it also feels like, particularly against T1, one of the biggest strengths that they have found is if Zayas gets to counterpick and gets to take over the game. And this is coming from, I think Zayas really having a very up and down year. A lot of moments where he just is able to finally, but then overextends in the side lane. But if he's this far ahead, as we have seen, like even trying to collapse on him, at worst, he generally will trade 1 for 1.
But I just don't understand why, when you're on red side, that is a situation
so you get Senna.
I just don't think it's weird. I don't
I don't think it's 0-4.
You know from the last series that this was the matchup that you had an issue in. We saw in the BNK4X KT series, they were doing these long swaps to try and protect Perfect. And now they blind pick on red side for him. It just doesn't make sense. It feels like it's completely the wrong approach. So, you're trying to insulate your top laner, because this has been brutal. And I know obviously the level 1 impacted as well, but
yeah, it's not.
Don't let Zayas pick Vayne.
It's not just Perfect. I think Deft and Barrel have also definitely struggled, but I do think a lot of the effects.
おお、よく当てた。てか、嘘くせえ今の。
BDD, man, this is one way you can still win the game as
Oh,
the
it's a-
Ontario is insane. It's still going to be a kill, but now they're in a bit
どう
of
だこれ
trouble. So many
フェイク
low
9ミスった
We got the TP coming in. Nice stasis from the side of
いい壁
Barrel is burning down a bit, but nobody has actually died yet on the side of KT, and they have some healing as well. So for now, it's just Zeus that has gone down.
And BDD is trying his best, okay? Someone is he's trying to hold everything together here. By itself, not enough, but we'll get the flash, we'll get the kill onto Zeus, and we're slowly starting to see the Senna value come through. If they can just stay alive and pick off members one by one, it's still a 6k gold deficit. This alone is not going to be enough, but it's got to be moments like this that maybe bring KT
いや
down.
マジ嘘くせえなこの Q3
play from BDD, but I think the deficit in terms of gold,
Watch this.
why this was so difficult.
Oh
That
my
interrupt
God.
area was beautiful, and they managed to get away without losing anyone. But it's so close.
あもうチャージないの
I
か
think a lot of KT members played it well, but the gold deficit is making it so difficult. And Guma, you know, one thing with Ziggs is if you're missing your skill shots, you're obviously not really doing any damage. He's not missing, and he is doing ridiculous damage right now. He is so fed, working towards a Rabadon's third. If any CC lands, there's a fair amount of CC from T1, an ult will be enough to just execute someone.
Yeah, he's going full damage builds as well. He knows that the only real tank is Cassante, who's also building armor for the main. As, yeah, this is what I was talking about. You know, he presses one button, and Barrel basically dies. Not a kill, but it is going to be Barrel out of the game for now. As he will have to back away. Faker still pushing the top lane. And yeah, T1 just basically trying to do their best to utilize the Ziggs to continue to try to push in as Pyosik just catches that one very nicely.
アサンテが後ろにいないこれ
Here comes KT though.
Oh, Guma just used his W aggressively.
そうだよね
Cassante.
Here comes the Cassante. It is 4v5 for now. TP available though. His owner
Ah,
just trying to
でも
get away. It doesn't look like they want to
エリア
fight
に
this
弾
one
かれた
just yet. They have the Azir turret, and Perfect is walking over every single mine that he can find. And yeah, they're just able to disengage. KT doesn't have the best engage at the end of the day anyway.
Also, Perfect, he's got the Frozen Fist and now going towards more armor, but Vayne does true damage and Faker and Guma do magic damage, so he's not very tanky. He wouldn't be tanky anyway because he's so behind, but he's definitely not tanky going towards more armor here. He's getting shredded, and you know, typically we see the build, the Luden's Horizon focus, better against squishies, but when there's no MR, you're just going to shred everything.
Yeah, now there's 5 squishies.
Yeah, I wouldn't have really minded going for like the Koenig Frozen Heart. I know those items are not nearly as strong as they were way back, but like specifically Frozen Heart I get because it does actually reduce the damage right with the aura, lowering the attack speed. But Koenig into the Azir and the Ziggs I think would have felt really good. I imagine didn't feel like he could because of the 1v1 matchup.
It's also funny, he went the Frozen Fist for the Vayne, you assume, but he spent most of the laning phase actually against the Ziggs.
Yeah.
And you see KT trying to posture here for Drake, but the satchel is just so good.
いやマジ
Man, our
ジグスの
Ziggs players
W
are getting a
強い
lot of practice on the Ziggs, and everybody is really upping their game nowadays. As
明らか
Guma
に
is really not missing
強
out.
い
It really is night and day as well when you compare Guma's individual Ziggs performance to when the
遠距離から飛んできていい CC じゃないあれ
Given how important of a pick it is on the patch, that shouldn't come as a surprise, but it definitely is a really big reason of why this first draft feels a little lopsided. And I do think that as a game number 1, KT took some gambles, right? Perfect being blinding the Cassante, giving over the Ziggs. I hope a lot of those decisions will be changed in the next game, because this one does feel like it's kind of over. If in game 1 in the best of 5 you do have a little bit of leeway, but if KT don't make a huge adaptation in the next one, I don't think...
Guma wants his cap.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's running around the map. He's like, give me your jungle now.
Oh, he's
Look at the money. Yep, 40. Okay. He's going to get the blue
more
button back.
this cap
Get
da.
his death cap. That's 3 items at 22 minutes for the Ziggs against 0 MR. None. They do have
there's
stasis.
two pairs of Merc Treads, actually.
Oh, sorry.
Senna-
yeah, no, I
Senna-
was incorrect. Yes.
Senna won't immediately die, right?
Surely
Guys?
not.
Um,
You can heal through the poke, right? If you're alive.
I don't think it's 100 is 0 yet, but it's not far away. Like, just the ult.
あそれ死ぬくね
This is not okay.
I think if Carrier
9食らってウルトされたら多分死ぬけど。
and then it's just Guma ult, I think Beryl might die to that. But I hope we get to see it for science, obviously.
Yeah, by the way, they still had the Rift Herald, so they just saved it until 23 minutes, and now they're using it to push down the mid wave and the mid lane and try to really get into those turrets. Baker going 1v1 against BDD, who eventually does have to rebind, but the rest of T1 are just pushing mid, and this is without Baron, and 1Q does Barrel's whole health bar split amongst, you know, 3 different guys.
グマニシマジでめっちゃスキルショット当ててる。
30-40%. You see as well, the only point of strength that I think KT have is Lilia, who without Flash isn't nearly as much of a threat, and BDD. So if BDD isn't there, the
ま
rest
あ
of
ゴールド差ある
T1
から
can
こそ
legitimately
の
just
ダメージではある
walk
け
up
ど、
and freely poke.
ゴールド差を作るのが簡単なチャンピオンが出していいダメージなのか。
I think we're obviously talking as if this game's a done deal, but it would have to be unprecedented levels
I think Ox is safe to say.
of mistakes from T1 to lose here against KT. Like, they would really have to fumble this to a hilarious degree to lose from here, which, you know, kind of puts odds
It's
really low on
never-
KT.
It's never impossible, but it really shouldn't happen. Particularly because I think T1, when ahead, have generally been very dependable. It's more so when they're even or behind that we see them make decisions that make you go, probably shouldn't have done that.
By
Right
the
now,
way,
though, yep,
yeah.
started up, why not?
And I mean, their Baron damage is just disgusting with the Vayne, with the Azir, with the Ziggs.
Yeah,
who
これ
isn't
通
even
れないな、
hitting
マ
it.
ジで
He's
ジグスいると。
just throwing it. away. That is 2 abilities, I guess 3. Just gonna be thrown in perfect like, I'm here, guys. I'm ready to
無
help.
理だ。
And the Baron's gone. T1 take it down. 24 minutes in. There's nothing that KT can do.
You know, we've seen so many games where Ziggs has been strong, effective, maybe even a little bit impressive, but we haven't really had a game where he's been this fed, this snowballed, this ahead. It's very ridiculous.
It's pretty rare in pro.
ジグスボットにポッピーがついてるとエンゲージ不可能でポークされるから、ポッピーがジグス
Yeah, I don't think that was in T1's game plan, but they adapted
They
pretty well.
pivoted really well. It's
まあ
actually
でも
very
まあか
impressive. Well, TP behind, Hail Mary.
BDD he's still trying his best, but now he doesn't have a health bar. And with Baron buff, this is just even more oppressive because your siege is already fantastic with just the one guy. And, you know, you have some healing, you have some ability to, yeah. But not really.
Well, he's got
not 10,000 gold behind.
He's got ult again. With the slow hit from, I think if the slow hits from Ona on Beryl,
ああこれは終わりだ。
Yeah, force a flash.
もう無理だ。
It's so funny because
も
Barrel
うこ
is
こからは
actually
マジで無理
healing,
だ。
but it just
どうしよう
doesn't
もない。
matter. Even the Luden Sprog.
Oh no.
ああ
Oh no! And the ult, you know, optimistic, but they do get the heal. And I guess that's something. They already got 2 inhibitors, rather, and they're going for number 3. And here we go. The Impale comes in, gets double flash away from them, just burning, just eating the summoners as they're trying to get on top of
まあ
Zeus.
ベイン
And
は
they
倒
might
せそう。
just do that, but who cares about Zeus when Kuma is this fed on the Ziggs? And you got the 1 carry, but you didn't get the other 2. BDD desperate to try to take something down. But guys, this game is over, and it is out as T1 are looking to take down game number 1 in flying fashion here in this finals of the regional qualifiers. As one last-ditch attempt from Depth, but this one is done. So 26.5 minutes, and game 1 goes to T1.
早いなこのシリーズ。 このシリーズはもしかしたら早いのか。まあ事故だったな。開幕のパーフェクトのデッドは。いやージグスもうちょいナーフしてほしかったな。これワールズバッチ今からでもホットフィックスしないかな。ちょっとさすがにボットレーンジグスが強いわこれ。